Mr. DeFazio, Oregon. The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. There's been a lot of talk in Washington, D.C. over the last few years about the bridge to nowhere in the last highway bill, an anomaly from a lot of good of investment that was in that bill. But what we have with the passage of this bill today is a lot of tax cuts to nowhere. I never met a tax cut that could build a bridge or rebuild the 160,000 bridges in our national highway system that need rebuilding. They're crumbling and falling in, or they're functionally obsolete. I never met a tax cut that could even fill in a pothole. I never met a tax cut that could build a school. I went in a new post-World War school to elementary school. It's still there today, serving future generations of kids. That was money borrowed and money well spent. Money borrowed for tax cuts, ephemeral tax cuts, very small tax cuts for the average family are not going to rebuild our economy, put us on the path to prosperity, and put people back to work. 3 Republican senators insisted on a lot more tax cuts. They hijacked the bill because of the arcane, obsolete, and in fact discretionary rules of the Senate. It didn't need to be that way. Let's just look at a couple of things they cut. We had an amendment here on the floor of the House to add $3 billion back to transit. That would have provided for thousands of jobs. We have backlogs. 12,000 buses are obsolete. There's backlogs of orders for buses sitting on the shelf, options that aren't funded. That would have put American workers to work building the buses, and American workers to work driving the buses, taking Americans to work and to school. $3 billion was cut from there to make room for tax cuts. There was money cut from highways to go to tax cuts. All of the money to build schools was cut from the bill for tax cuts. The list goes on and on and on. We could have done so much more to rebuild our infrastructure with this bill. We could have done so much more to help our kids get a good education in safe and new schools and facilities. But they went out the door to tax cuts. Now, there was one tax cut, actually, that would have helped a business in my district that employs 1,300 people. That tax cut was taken out of the bill. And the CEO called me yesterday to say, we'll probably be closing our doors because we're not going to be getting that tax relief. And then there's money to help the states with the deficit in the school budgets. That's great, except it can't be spent until July. My schools are in crisis now. They're talking about lopping a month off of the school year, and we're being told we can't spend that money now. You need it for next year. Well, we're in the last 3 months of a 9-month year. That means our cuts are going to be twice as big as they would need to be on an annual basis. We need to have access to that money now. But we won't have access to that money now under this bill. This bill ultimately is a lost opportunity. And I fear that when it comes time to do further investments, the borrowing well may have run dry. Who's going to lend us this $800 billion to spend on these sorts of things like tax cuts? They might lend us money to build a bridge because they know it makes us more productive and it puts people to work and provides returns. They might lend us money for other substantial things. They might lend us money for education. But they're going to lend us money so we can cut taxes. And we're going to probably borrow it from China or Japan, if they'll lend it to us, and think there's not going to be any consequences. And think that maybe we can go back to the well again later when we want to meet real needs and we want to make real investments. I fear that the well will have run dry. So I voted no today, and I'm proud of that vote.
The chair leaves